Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday morning, mid-morning, and welcome to this Specialist Trading educational presentation. And today I'm excited because I'm going to be introducing a brand new course that we've never presented before. This is the first time ever, and it's the PTS Primo Charts University. This is really something brand new because what we're doing is we're taking some 4 decades of information that I've accumulated and putting it together and showing how to easily access it on our PTS Primo charting platform. Now, one of the main reasons why we decided to put this together is because a lot of our students, even if they've been with us for a while and already have the platform, are unaware either of how to use a certain technique or method that is available to them, or they're not even familiar or aware of the many different techniques or different ideas that are available on the platform right now, readily available, but they're just not familiar with them. For example, here's one of our tools on the platform that is often most misunderstood, and a lot of people are not familiar on how to apply it. For example, as we look at this chart in the spiders, remember coming into the beginning of the year, the market was just steadily going higher. Sure, we had some sell-offs as we see here, but every time we sold off, we continued to make higher highs. So this made trading really simple. Basically, anything you wanted to buy was going to go up. In fact, if you just shot a dart at the Wall Street Journal and whatever stock it landed on, you'd most likely do well. So here we come into a situation in mid-February to late February where the market looks as if it's rolling over again. And so most traders were caught off guard saying to themselves, well, this is just another buying opportunity. But this tool that we have readily available on our platform, actually, if you knew how to properly apply it, signaled a very strong warning that this was not something to take lightly, but that most likely the trend was about to change, that this upward momentum was running out of steam. And we all know what happened late February coming into March and into April. The market literally fell out of bed. A lot of people lost all the money they had made the last year or so, and they really had nothing left in their nest egg to make it back. Now, this very same tool helps in identifying when the momentum is ending on the downside. As you can see, when the market was going straight down, another warning was issued here. Not that the market bottoms out, because that's not the way this tool is meant to be used. It's just designed to tell you if it's running out of steam. And here was the first warning that we may be running out of steam. It also gave a second warning right here. And finally, it gave a third warning, very strong warning right here, that most likely this was just running on fumes to the downside and we're going to have a nice bounce. It's not calling for the down market, the end of the down market, and it's not calling for new highs. It just says that the trend most likely is about to change because the current volatility is coming to an end. And then coming into April, we all know what happened. In fact, the market has continually set to climb its steady course here all the way up into this last week. Now, if you knew how to apply this tool to your trading, regardless of what time frame, regardless of what market, and regardless of what direction, you could actually answer this question as well. Are we getting to another scenario where we may be running out of steam to the upside, or is there still room left in? So remember, this was one of the reasons why we decided to create the PTS Primo Charts University, to teach you and to show you the trading plans on how to actually apply these methods with your own personal trading. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. 12 years ago, I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies with one goal in mind, and that was simply to educate traders. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, why do you have to educate traders? Why can't you just tell us what to buy or sell? Why can't you just tell us what the best market is? Why can't you just tell us what the best time frame is? I know a lot of you go to webinars, and that's what they say. They'll tell you what their pick of the week is or what they think the market's going to do. Well, in my opinion, that is a recipe for disaster, because think of it. I've said this many times before, but it's actually true. What is the industry based off of? The entire industry is based off of you going to a website, a chat room, or some type of blog, finding out what they like or don't like, and then just basically mirroring their trades. Okay? This could be from some so-called trading guru who's never lost, or it could be following some master indicator, or it could just basically be following the news events. Now, if this works so well, remember, 99.9% of all traders trade this way, myself included when I first started. If this works so well, then why do estimates say that upwards of 85% of all traders fail, most likely within the first year? And when we mean fail, we don't mean that you're going to a small loss. We mean literally that you'll give away all of your nest egg for trading. The reason is because it really doesn't work. You should never blindly follow along what someone else does. Now, sure, we're not saying that it doesn't work, but two traders should never trade alike. This never happens to work. I've had workshops before where traders have wanted to copy and mirror my trading style. And in the beginning, some 20 years ago, when I first started teaching students, I told them exactly how I buy and sell, exactly what I do on my intraday trading. And guess what? None of my students could make any money because it didn't fit their personal trading habits. Maybe I was trading too much for some. Maybe I was trading too little for some. Maybe my risk was too much. Maybe it was too little. So you have to find your own way. The reason why most traders aren't able to find their own way is they say, well, Steve, I'm not educated enough. I didn't go to school. I don't have an MBA like you. I didn't go to business school. I haven't been trading for 43 years like you. Well, guess what? When I started, I didn't have any of those things either. I came in fresh. I didn't even know what a stock was. So the real reason is because most traders fail is because you don't have the proper education. We're relying on things that don't show any levels of consistency. So that's the beauty of specialist trading and pro trader strategies. We teamed up with one goal in mind to simply teach you things that have stood the test of time. And then once we teach you how to spot and identify these setups, we work with you to develop a plan that makes you feel comfortable. This is the beauty behind what we've done, and we have students in over 115 countries around the world and in every state in the United States, so it must be working fairly well. We really want to make you in charge of your own trading destiny. Remember, I always say this to my students, the one question you should never ask is, what do you think of the market? Because when you ask someone, what do you think of the market, you're basically saying, I don't know what to do. I haven't enough education, enough skill, enough experience, so rather than relying on my own education, I'll let you tell me what to do. And that's why most traders fail. So my goal is really to educate you so you never have to ask that question again. And that's the reason why, one of the main reasons why we formulated the PTS Primo Charts University, so that you'd never have to ask what someone else thinks of the market, or what do you think of this stock or this future or this time frame. You can decide for yourself. Now, before we begin, as always, we are first required by law to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results and show you the curriculum of the university at hand, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And also please remember that all the examples you're going to see today are strictly for educational purposes only. So, as you're taking a brief moment to view our disclaimer, once again, we have a good crowd here today. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to follow us on Twitter. There's our handle right there, abbreviation for Specialist Trading. You may want to copy that down. It's at SPCLSTTRADG. I post a lot of great free educational information. Sometimes I post little bits of financial wisdom. Other times, little bits, scenarios of strategy, signals that have just been generated, and explain why they were generated. What type of strategy it is, either a continuation, a pullback, a breakout, or whatever, a candlestick. And so there's a lot of great free educational information on our Twitter page, so please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now, as I've often stated before as well, if you come here today thinking that I'm going to tell you what to buy or what to sell or what the perfect time frame is, you've really come to the wrong place. That's not what we do. In fact, that's the exact opposite of what we do. As you can see here, my goal is not to force feed you signals. It's not to tell you what market to trade or what I think of the market, what I think is going to happen. Are we going to go higher? Or are we going to break down and make new lows? That's not my job as an educator. My job is simply to teach you so that you can make your own trading decisions. So when I first started trading some 43 years ago on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange, I was probably like most of you. I relied heavily on finding out what the news or the earnings were going to be, the economic reports, the jobless claims. We didn't have blogs then, but we didn't have chat rooms, but we had newsletters that we used to subscribe to. We used to watch with bated breath all of the news pundits and all of the the trading gurus on TV that would tell us what they thought of the market. And nothing is any different than what it was 43 years ago when I first started. None of that stuff seemed to work for me. So my first year of trading, I thought I was going to most likely not be trading much longer because I wasn't losing a lot of money. I was just breaking even. But I was putting in a lot of hard work and spending a lot of hours to just basically tread water. Many of you may be going through that right now. I was lucky enough to get some mentors on the floor of the exchange. These were specialists themselves who had been trading roughly about 40 years each. And they basically share with me all the things that have sustained me throughout my 4 decades of trading. And these are the things I teach to my students around the world. So this is the specialist edge. It's rooted in simplicity. And basically, it's rooted in the concept of we want to listen to only one thing. And that's not the earnings reports. That's not the jobless claims. That's not the institutions. That's not support and resistance or Fibonacci levels or Elliott wave. We're not going to listen to some guy on TV or in a chat room. We want to listen to one thing, and that's the chart in front of us, because that really tells you just about everything you need to know. Now, most traders are never taught this, myself included. I was never taught this. And the funny thing is, it is so much more simpler to listen to the chart in front of you than it is to try and decipher what the earnings are going to be or try and decipher what the jobless claims were. Is that positive or is that negative? What does that mean? So it's so easy, much easier because it's very cut and dry. It's very black and white. And this is what we're going to focus on in the university. Okay? So let's begin today's presentation. And once again, if you have any questions, please wait till the very end of class. It won't take a long time. If you have a question, please write it down and we'll get to it at the very end. The only question I will answer is the most common, and that is this being recorded? Yes, we record all of our webinars. So if you have to leave early or if you have any technical issues, don't worry. We'll send each and every one of you a link to this recording, okay? So please keep the questions till the end, and let's begin today's presentation. Now remember, we're going to be talking about the PTS Primo Charts University. This is brand new. And when we first started, when I first teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies, the way we would introduce our education was just through a series of online webinars and some recordings that we mail out to subscribers or to new students. And that was basically how you learned, okay? It was fine at the time, 10, 12 years ago, but it was a little difficult in corresponding with myself and in getting an understanding to see if you were doing it properly. This is where we took it up a step further when we created the PTS Primo Charting Platform. This is the educational platform that teaches you how to listen to the market. It really is an educational platform because it lets you check your work. So it's almost like having me sitting right next to you and sharing with you my 43 years of experience and knowledge and things that I've accumulated right there. So along with your studying with the online courses, what we teach you, and then using it with the platform, you have the best of both worlds. We've seamlessly integrated the two so that you really learn in this university how to trade and take your trading to the next level. Remember, our goal is to have you listen to the market and then make your own trading decisions. So you'll never have to rely on what someone else is telling you on what you should do or asking someone, what do you think I should do? What do you think the market's going to do? You'll never have to do those things because you've been studying through the university and you know right off the bat what you want to do. All right, excuse me. So who is this course for? Well, it's designed for students who want to take full advantage of our well-rounded trading education while at the same time having access to a vehicle that can implement that knowledge with one click of their mouse. Think of it, 43 years of knowledge and information, of trading knowledge and information at your fingertips with one click of your mouse. So how will this course teach you how to listen to the market? Because remember, it's all about learning how to listen to the market. Well, this is why we've devised this and developed it into a 5-week live course. So it's going to be a 5-week live class taught by yours truly, where you can make it more intimate by asking me questions in the live class. So let's go over the curriculum and we'll share with you what's going to be offered, just a little bit of what's going to be offered in each live class. All right, week 1. We're going to cover the core concepts of trading. This is extremely important because this goes against what most people have ever learned about trading. One of the first things we learn about trading is to buy low and sell high, right? I mean, we're always taught if something is too far down, if it's fallen out of bed, it's what? It's oversold, right? It's too cheap. We've got to buy it. We've got to buy low. And if something has gone up far too high, too quickly, it's overbought, right? We've got to sell it. We've got to get out and take a profit or go short because it's going to roll over, right? Well, this goes against everything we teach and against everything I was taught by my mentors. So these are the core concepts. And this is just going to be touching on one of those aspects. For example, let's take a look at this older chart in Zoom. This was coming into May. Now, right off the bat, most traders analyzing this would say, well, Steve, look at this. This is in a downtrend. We're going straight down. So you always say you want to be in sync with the trend, right? So we shouldn't buy this. This is what we do if we want to trade in sync with the trend. We avoid this, and we should probably look to short. Well, with the simple core concept, you're going to see with the aid of the PTS Primo charting platform that this was not in a downtrend at all. And for all intents and purposes, we were actually in an overall uptrend. So rather than looking at this as a downtrend, this is a buying opportunity. And as you can tell, Zoom went up after that and has continued to go higher and higher. And this works the other way as well. Most likely, most people would say, well, wow, this is in an uptrend. Look at this thing go straight up. I went to that chat room and they really liked this stock, CHK. And so I bought it right here and I have a really nice day profit. So I don't think you can tell me anything else, Steve. I mean, this is really a nice stock. It's probably going to go higher. I mean, the estimates have it going much, much higher. Well, most people would say it's in an uptrend. This is the way we've been taught. But according to the core rules we'll teach you and you'll be able to check on the platform, this was not in an uptrend at all. In fact, this was just a bounce in an overall downtrend. So if the trend is down, this is not a buying opportunity. This is a selling opportunity. And what happened to that purchase you made right here? Well, you would have had one day with a nice profit, but after that, most likely it turned into a big loss. So this is why most traders fail. They don't know these core concepts. They're out of sync with the market because you're not listening to the market. You're listening to some guy in a chat room. You're listening to the earnings. You're listening to the jobless claims. And remember, the market has really nothing to do with those things. I know a lot of you have been trained that it does, but they really don't. I mean, think of it. If fundamental news really is in control of the market, well, then the market should be in a Great Depression by now because the news is really terrible with the pandemic and with so many people out of work and with things getting worse with the disease and with the virus. I mean, you would think it's the end of the world, but the market continues to go higher. So remember, we don't listen to any news. It's not required at all in our courses. You can do that if you want to. We're never going to tell you what not to do. You're always free to make your own decisions. But if you really want to be in sync, you have to learn and listen to what the market's telling you, not what some convoluted indicator is saying. All right, so that's what's going to be covered in week one. Extremely important, and just the basic concepts of this will increase your odds for consistency tremendously with this 1 week alone. Let's go on to week number 2, where we're going to be talking about the 2 types of trade setups. Now, most traders, when I've taught this concept before, have said, Steve, how can there only be 2 types of trade setups? I mean, there's got to be tons of different setups, right? I mean, there's just different systems all over the world. There's different trading techniques, there's different markets, different time frames. Well, in all reality, though, there are only 2 types of trade setups, and we'll share with you what they are. For example, type number 1 generates multiple signals. That's not what it's based off of, but this is the result of type number 1 trade. So as you see here, looking at this chart in Apple, from May to mid-June, type number 1 will generate these type of multiple signals. So you have to ask yourself, are you a type 1 type of trader? Are you the type of trader that likes to trade a lot? Do you like to trade while the market's going straight up? Do you not mind that? Do you not mind buying higher? A lot of traders have a difficult time doing that. Remember, no 2 traders should ever trade alike. You have to find out what makes you feel comfortable. So that's one of the characteristics of type number 1 setups. Now, type number 2 generates fewer signals. For example, where we had all of those buy signals with type number 1, type number 2, looking at the exact same chart, would have only generated 1 buy signal right here. And you notice this type is at the bottom of a short and shallow little sell-off. So some traders will say, this is perfect for me. I only like to trade, once or twice a month, and I like to buy at the lower levels. Whereas type 1 traders would say, no, that's too boring. You mean I have to sit and wait 2 months for 1 trade? I can't do that. I want some action. So this is another reason why traders fail. You're out of sync with your particular type. Maybe that webinar you went to or that vendor promised you the world, and then you sit down to trade this system you bought for $10,000, and it generates 1 signal every 2 months. It's like, I can't trade like this, right? So this is where you have to make your own decision, and you have to do some soul searching to find out what type of trader you are. We cover this in great detail in week 2. Now in week 3, we'll take it up a notch and we start going into trend trading. And we specifically show you how to detect early and strong trends. This is extremely important because all of our philosophy of trading centers around being in sync with the market. Remember, we want to be in sync with the market. We want to listen to the market. We want to find out what it's going to do, and then we jump on board with whatever direction it wants to go. So if we want to be in sync with the market, it stands to reason that we want to detect early the strong trends, what it wants to do. The only trouble is every website, every so-called trading guru has a different idea of what the trend is and how to define it. We feel that we have one of the best ways to define the trend because it's extremely simple, and I've been using it for roughly 43 years, and I personally think it's the best thing around. For example, most traders looking at this chart of Apple once again would say, well, Steve, I determine the trend by looking at candlestick patterns because candlestick patterns are reversal patterns. So if I see reversal, it's telling me that the trend is going to reverse. So for all intents and purposes here, we have a bearish engulfing pattern, which is telling me at the very top of that little uptrend that most likely the trend's going to go lower. So I'm going to be a seller. Well, not really, because according to this tool that we'll share with you, that was signaling the beginning of the trend, not the beginning of a downtrend, but the beginning of a strong uptrend. And then we all know what happened with Apple coming into mid-June and coming into July, all right? That's the beauty of it. Now, we're going to share with you how this tool really defines these trends and gives you an early warning of these trends. But we're also going to take it up a notch and share with you another tool that oftentimes has the uncanny ability to share with you when a trend is running out of steam. I mean, what a great edge to have, right? Wouldn't you like to know when a trend is running out of steam to the upside? So maybe if you've been long and have a really nice profit, maybe you could protect yourself by raising your stop, or maybe you could exit a portion or position, or maybe get out of the whole thing, all right? So most traders would look at this and say, well, this is extremely overbought. I mean, we've been going straight up since April. We haven't really stopped, and that chat room I go to thinks it's time to get out of Apple. It's a good stock to hold for a long term, but if you're trading it, we're extremely overbought. So you don't want to hold this anymore, right? You got to get out. So sell your position. We'll get in at a lower price. So it's not overbought. According to this trending tool we tell you about, the strength of trend tool, it said that there was still some more room, some more momentum left to the upside. And look what happened after that. So don't you think you would have been kicking yourself if you exited your position? Or let's say you didn't have a position. Let's say you thought, well, I'm not going to buy Apple here because it's overbought, and that chat room I go to says it should come down about 50%. But what happened to that, okay? So this is the beauty of this tool. Now remember in the opening chart where we shared with you what the spiders did. Well, this is the exact same tool, but in this case, it worked to the downside. Remember, this tool does not pick a top, it does not pick a bottom, but it gives you clear-cut warnings of when a particular strong trend may be running out of steam. Now, we all knew that in March, coming into April, we had an extreme downward trend. The first warning was in mid-March that this was coming to an end. We got another warning mid to end of March, and then a third warning where it was basically screaming that this is going to end very soon, and we all know what happened after that. Now, as we stated at the beginning of the presentation, wouldn't you like to know what that particular strength of trend tool is saying right now? We've been going pretty much straight up for the last 3, almost 4 months, okay? So this is another topic, and we're going to go into detail in the university, sharing with you a trading plan on how to use this. Remember, the beauty of the university is we take 43 years of trading knowledge, we meld it with the platform, and then we work with you to construct a trading plan so you can use each or every one of the techniques that we have on the platform. Now, so far we've been talking about concepts, different types of trade setups, and detecting some trends, but we haven't really defined clear-cut structure. That's where we go into week number 4 with one of my favorite trading strategies. In fact, this was the first strategy I was taught by my mentors, and I've been using it now for over 4 decades, every day in some capacity. Let's look at that Apple chart again, okay? All right. So as we can see in hindsight, Apple's been going straight up. How can we use this strategy? Well, in the course, in the university, we teach you all the rules to the strategy. If you haven't learned it by now, if you're not a student of this course, we'll teach you all the rules and all the different ways to apply it. But we'll share with you how to use the platform as a learning tool. For example, the first thing you want to do on our platform is click on the strategy number 4 on our green upper strategy tab, and you'll see the drop-down menu. Now, we teach you all of these different characteristics and features. We share with you how to apply them in the course. But here's the beauty. Remember, once again, this is an educational platform that automatically shares with you and checks your work and shows you how to apply them just with one click of your mouse. For example, if you want to check your work to see if you properly identified a strategy number 4 signal, all you would have to do is click on signal arrows in the drop-down menu, and an arrow will appear where there was a valid signal. And if that's where you spotted one, where you check your work and you're correct. So this is how you're learning, by using the platform as an educational tool, because our goal is to ultimately get you to that point where you don't have to use the arrows anymore. We want you just to look at a chart and say, that's a strategy 4 buy signal. All right, that's a strategy 4 sell signal, regardless of what time frame, regardless of what market. I'm at that point right now. I don't need this to tell me when the signal is, but we want to get you to that. And in the meantime, the way to learn is by using our platform. I wish I had had this when I was learning on my own. Okay, now let's put some more structure to it. Let's use one of our entry points, which is the confirmation entry. All you have to do is click that on, and this is one of our confirmed entry points right here. It tells you automatically where you should be entering, and it gives you the actual numbers. You can place a stop or know that when it trades there, you should be entering. Now you can see we gapped up. So it's your choice having a pre-market indication if you wanted to purchase it or not. It's up to you. Remember, you're in charge of your trading, not us. This is not a system. Now you want to find out where you'd be exiting with a profit. Click on range extensions. This is just one of our exit plans. There are upwards of 6 more different ways to exit, but you could use the exit range extension exits, and we give you 4 different exits for you to choose from. These are high probability exits that if you entered would come with a profit. Now, since we gapped up, you most likely wouldn't want to exit here. You'd want to exit here, but see, at each and every one of these levels, you could have had a nice profit. Remember, the goal is to take the guesswork out of your trading so that you don't just sit there and say, wow, I have a nice profit. What should I do? Okay, where would you get out of this? Remember, you never want to ask anyone that. With the university, you'll have all this information at your hand, one click away, and you'll be able to know right off the bat. And you'll say, why would I ever ask anyone? I have this information already in front of me. I know what I want to do. This is how you become a consistent trader. Not by asking people what they think, or going to a blog or going to a chat room and finding out what they think of the markets. You should know and have your own plan in place. Now, in week 5, we take it up a notch by talking about advanced money management techniques, all right? Now, not only are we going to cover stocks, but we're going to cover risk-reward ratios, and we'll cover ways in which to stay in the trade much longer so you can get as much bang for your buck. But let's just talk about one of the most basic concepts, which is stop placement. We have that as well on the platform. Once you open up the Strategy 4 drop-down menu, all you have to click is stop placement, and this is, once again, just one of our 6 or 7 different stop plans, and you could have chosen this as a generic stop, okay? You see how simple this is? Now remember, this is not black box. You know the reason why that stop was initiated there. You'll know the reason why those exits were initiated. This is not something where you have no idea what you're doing. Everything is explained. You know all the rules in the course. We teach you in the online course. But on top of that, it's just seamlessly one click away on your platform. Now, you can also use this to the downside. All right, let's say we have a strategy number 4 sell signal right here in RCL. Okay, there's a sell signal. Click on indicator settings. And should say, I'm sorry, we clicked on the wrong one. This should actually be the stop settings. I'm sorry, the stop. There's your stop right there. As we go lower, you can place another buy signal here. So we click on the stops again, the indicator settings. And you can just lower your stop as it goes lower and lower. So this is another way to trail the trade. Every time a strategy 4 signal is generated, you can use that initial stop to lower your stop levels. This is the beauty of using this university as your platform for trading. Now, we've talked about structure, we've talked about concepts. Let's put together one of our trading plans. So here's an example of just one of the daily trading plans that you'll be able to execute with the help of the new PTS Primo Charts University. Okay? And remember, there are going to be literally dozens of different ways to use all the information. Let's just use a very basic format for trading strategy 4. And remember, we'll have trading formats for core concepts. We'll have trading formats for trading with the trend with our trending tools. We'll have trading formats for advanced money management. Let's just look at a daily trading plan for strategy 4. All right, we'll take it step by step, okay? This is what you would do on a daily basis if you wanted to. It's your choice if you wanted to use this trading plan. All right, step 1, perform a nightly strategy number 4 scan. So that night, let's say it was last night, you go to our platform, and at the basic page of the platform, you go to strategy number 4. In the drop-down menu, click on Scanner, okay? And once you click that on, you'll see this page appear. This is our scanner page. It's going to specifically scan for strategy number 4 setups for that were initiated that night for the next day. Now, you can load whatever symbols you want. We give you a list of symbols already pre-formatted from the S&P 500 to ETFs to currency pairs, Bitcoin, commodities, futures, anything you want. The DAX exchange, European markets, Asian markets, Toronto exchange, whatever markets you're interested in trading, it's just one click away. Just to keep things simple, let's click on the Dow 30, okay? And the symbol list comes up here. So you're scanning the Dow 30. Once you have the spreadsheet of all the stocks you're interested in or the market, just click on Scan. And in about 10 seconds, you'll see a list of either red horizontal bars or green. The red horizontal bars mean there's a sell signal in the corresponding stock. The green ones mean there's a buy signal. All right. Now, I've taken the time of about a minute or two to explain this process, but once you get this format under your belt, it'll probably take you less than 30 seconds. Okay. That's how simple this is. So you'll be able to then look at all the stocks you're interested in or whatever market. Now, let's say you had this feature in front of you. You're already a member of the university. Just a couple of weeks ago, a signal was generated in Amazon. We know it's an expensive stock, but let's just say maybe you wanted to buy a couple of shares or maybe you wanted to buy some calls. Here was a buy signal that was generated. Now, this takes us to step 2. On the platform, you have 2 ways of doing this, either double-clicking on the signal arrow or in the drop-down menu, you just one click on the entry, stop, and exit levels. It's that simple. This is going to give you a very simple trading plan. So double click on the entry. Here's our confirmation entry, 1 tick above the high. Double click on the stop. That's your generic stop level. Remember, just one of them. And then double click on the exit levels, okay? It's that simple. So now, do you see how you have put some structure? You've put some binders on the trade now. You would know where to basically enter. You'd know where to protect yourself. You'd know where the different levels were, high probability exit points. Now remember, it's your choice. We're giving you this information that has stood the test of time, that I've accumulated in 43 years, and we work with you. It's now your choice whether you want to take this or not. Because as you can see, step 3 is decide whether or not you want to take the trade. Because let's say if you were to enter here and you had a stop here, you say, well, Steve, that's way too much risk for me. I don't want to use this stop placement. Well, guess what? There are about 6 other different stop placements based off of high probability setups. We'll share with you what those are as well, okay? Let's say you didn't want to enter there. You don't mind the stop, but you want to enter maybe somewhere lower. Well, we'll share with you techniques on how to do that as well. Now, with the exits, this is just one of the different exit plans. We have 6 more different ways to exit, not even using these levels at all. But let's just say you chose these levels, okay, and you decided to trade. Well, if you wanted to get in and out quickly, you could have done so with one-day trading. You could have entered here and exited at the first level. Some of our traders like to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. You still had a nice profit. Say you wanted to exit here at the second level. Well, the next day you could have done that. Now, we always teach our students that the 4th level, the 4th and final level, holds the most bang for your buck. And the reason why we say that is because over time we have seen, it's not research or statistically verified, but we've seen that once price gets to that 4th level, most likely the trend is going to change for a bit or you'll have a stall. So that's where you'd like to get out of the position entirely. And remember, it's up to you, but that's our suggestion. So let's say this was your point of exiting everything. And so you didn't exit at any of the levels at all. You were waiting for this level. Well, all you had to do was wait a couple more days and you would have exited right there. And you see, we went higher, but look what happened yesterday. Went down. Now, had you exited at the fourth and final exit level, well, that's 266 points in 4 days. Not a bad little trade, right? Sure, you could have had maybe a couple of shares or maybe a far out of the money call, but we're just sharing with you how simple it is to apply structure. Now, this can work in the other way as well, going short. We apply the same trading plan to the downside in EHTH. A strategy 4 signal was generated. Here's one of our many entry points, our confirmation entry. Here's our basic generic stop, and here are the 4 exit levels. Let's say we decided to take this trade. We say, okay, listen, I going short basically at 107. I'm covering at 114. I can risk 7 points on maybe 100 shares. That's fine with me. And I want to exit at the 4th and lowest level. Okay, so in about a week, you would have been able to exit there, and you would have made 14 points, excuse me. So that's, if you had 100 shares, that's $1,400. You basically made double what your risk was. Not a bad risk-reward ratio, right? And this is the reason, once again, why we say you should exit at the 4th and final exit level, because look what happened to the trend after that. And you would have kicked yourself had you not exited and you were still holding on and giving away a lot of your profit, okay? So do you see how this university can help you? Because not only are we giving you this information that I've accumulated in 4 decades, but we're having it seamlessly integrated on the platform so that you get one click away, you'll see it all right there in front of you. This is the beauty of having the best of both worlds, the information in an online seminar for you, and then being able to use it on the platform and apply it properly. Stop making the same mistakes over and over again. This is what most traders do, because we've all been taught faulty information. We've been all told that earnings are supposed to help us and they're supposed to work, right? We've been all taught that support and resistance is supposed to work. We've been all taught that Fibonacci levels and that the institutions are trading along with them are supposed to work. But guess what? I traded with those things 43 years ago and they didn't work for me then. So why would you think they're going to miraculously start working now? My mentors were lucky enough to share this information with me, and this information has sustained me now for 4 decades. So stop making the same mistakes. The PTS Primo Chart University can help you become a more efficient trader. So here's your chance to become a student of mine in the PTS Primo Charting University. Remember, it's a 5-week live course going to be taught by yours truly, and we're going to keep the course size down to a certain level because we don't want to have one of these courses the way I used to have where there were hundreds of people, and it was no better than speaking in a large room where I couldn't answer every question, and some students didn't feel as if they were learning properly because there were too many students involved. So we want to keep them to a specific level. Here's your chance. Now, let's break it down. If we took all this information and we divided it up individually, this educational value would be close to $20,000. That's how valuable this is. But we're not going to charge you $20,000 the way some other websites would be. We're going to discount this down to $49.95. And since it's going to be, class is going to be starting within the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to give you an early bird discount. If you decide to do it right now, you can purchase it for $44.95, this 5-week course, but we're going to also offer you trading payment plan. So we're going to throw in for the first 100 members, they're going to receive 12 months of the PTS Primo Charts free, and you're going to be able to establish some type of payment plan. So remember, if you can't come up with $44.95, don't worry. Pro Trader Strategies is very flexible. For a small deposit, they'd still be able to work with you. You could still be up and running. You could make a payment plan for that $44.95, okay? So these payment plans are available for a limited time, along with 12 months of the PTS Primo Charts free. Trust me, there really is a holy grail. It's a perfect trading method that generates amazing results. And you know what that is? It's called educating yourself. It's not some system that generates signals for you that you have no idea what it's based off of. It's not some tremendous indicator that you have no idea how to use it. It's simply educating yourself. This is the holy grail to sustaining yourself so you can not only have a good couple of weeks or a good month or even a good year, so that you can have a good decade, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 good decades ahead of you. This is our goal as your instructing mentor. Now, here's how to take advantage of this. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. I developed the platform with them, and they're in charge of all the discounted prices and all the tech support with the platform. They have trained consultants manning the phones right now. You can call them directly. I would actually suggest calling them directly at 598-6677. There's absolutely no obligation. They would be happy to work out a payment plan with you. So if you don't have enough to come up with a $44.95 early bird discount, you can still be up and running with a payment plan with a small deposit. You can still be up and running and be first in the class for this particular webinar we're having today. First sign up for this webinar. Remember, we're going to try and keep it to a specific amount, and then we'll close it. If we get too many more students after that, well, then we'll open up a second class at a different time. Now, this link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you up to the sign-up page if you'd like to sign up online, or there's more information on this page as well. Now, that link is not a live link, but we've posted a live link in the chat box on the GoToWebinar column. So if you want to use that, you can simply go to that link as well. Now, I said I would reserve the last 10-15 minutes for questions. If you have any questions, just go to the question and answer portion of the GoToWebinar column on the far right and write them in, and I will answer any question you may have. Someone is asking, does this information work on intraday trading? Yes, it does, and I can tell you that firsthand because since my background in trading is in intraday trading, because I was on the floor and I was when I was making markets and trading on the floor of the stock exchange, I was in and out of a trade in 2 or 3 minutes. So that's my background, so I continue to trade that way to this day. Now, I personally like to trade the E-mini futures, so that's where I use all this information. So if you're thinking it only works for stocks, that it really isn't true. It can be applied to intraday future trading. We have a lot of students that are currency pair traders. We also have students around the world that trade commodities or Bitcoin. So there's no reason to think that this will only work with stocks or daily bars of stocks. You can use it for our higher time frames as well. You can actually use this for weekly bars or even monthly if you'd like as well. Okay, good question. Next question, what if we already have the platform? Well, that's a good question. That's why I would suggest contacting Pro Trader Strategies if you already have the platform. If you're already a student, or if you have Strategy 4, someone's asking, what if I already have Strategy 4? Contact Pro Trader Strategies because they're very flexible. They would be willing to work with you, maybe offer you something else in return because you already have that, or maybe work with you in the terms of pricing structure. And so there's no one set in stone type of price. They'd be more than happy to work with you and set some type of a payment plan, okay? Somebody is saying, when will these classes be held? Well, we're trying to format them for the next 3 to 4 weeks. All right, we're still signing up students to keep the class at a certain level. Once we get to a certain level, we'll pretty much close it off. And if you're asking actually which day of the week, usually we have them formatted to Fridays, okay, the end of the week. That way we can discuss what happened the previous week, and we can show you, a lot of examples of things that happened in the last week that you can go back and research. But, we don't want to be sharing with you things that happened 6 months ago, because that's not the way to learn. You want to see things that happened recently. So if we have them on Friday, that way we can look and review things that happened within the last week. And then you have all the weekend to study the class. You can review the tape and you can review the new section, which we just covered and taught. And that way the weekend is a really nice way to study the new information we're sharing with you. Now, if we get enough students who would like to have it on a different day or a different time, we're always open to that. It just has to be a majority vote. Sometimes we had them on Monday mornings at the beginning of the week. We've had other colleges and other classes and courses that way. Other times we had them on the weekend. It all just comes down to what the majority wants, okay? So if you want to have them before the market opens, you want to have them after. Usually what we do is we have them roughly about this same time, 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and then, we go from there. But it's up to you. It'll be very flexible, whatever the majority of the students want. Will they be recorded? Yes, we will record all of the classes, the 5-week classes, so that if you cannot make some of them or all of them, don't worry, we will share all of them with you and give you a link to the recording. You can study them at your own leisure. And those recordings are yours for life. So you'll always be able to go back and look at them at your own leisure, okay? Okay, good questions. Someone already asked about the platform, okay? Yeah, I would contact Pro Trader Strategies. If you already have the platform, or if you already have one of the strategies or methods, please, they would be more than happy to work with you. As I said, they're very flexible. We have a great tech support as well. Someone is asking about tech support. So if you have tech support issues with the platform, they will be more than happy to help you as well, okay? We have a good crowd here today. Remember, we're trying to keep the class to a certain level. We want to make it, where we accommodate everyone, but at the same time, we want to keep it rather intimate because we feel you'll learn better that way. If we get to a certain point, we'll have two distinct different classes. That way, not to keep one very big, we'll keep them at certain levels. So please take advantage of this as we get ready to close here. I just want to really say that this is 4 decades of information that's taken me, that long to accumulate. And the beauty of this is when we first started, remember, once again, the only way we could share this with you was by just giving you a video and asking you to learn it that way. But now with the platform, you have the best of both worlds. You can learn all the information on the video, then you can go practice it on the platform. That's going to increase your learning curve tremendously. So rather than take me 40 years to accumulate this, you'll get all this information, and in a series of 5 or 6 weeks, you'll have it all under your belt, and you'll be that much more ahead of the game. So please, as we get ready to close here, I just want to say thank you so much for attending today, but take advantage of this. And remember, Pro Trader Strategies is very flexible. They would be more than happy to work with you on setting up a payment plan. You don't have to come up with a $44.95 lump sum. You can come up with a small deposit, and they would be happy to still set together a payment plan so you can be in the first class, okay? As we close here and take one last look at our disclaimer, I just want to say thank you for attending today. I hope you learned something. And most especially, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the 5-week PTS Primo Charts University course. Thank you so much for attending today. I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.